Start where we left off last time, because that seems like a fun thing, where we left off here last time at least. So Alstro, you witnessed the last of the memories and thoughts and emotions that resided within Gleipnir. Wrong one. Avalon. And then your eyes snap open and you're back in the boat, sitting down. Your hand is on your chest. Just, it moved up there at some point during this. And you feel moisture on your cheeks.
Yeah, I'm crying.
Yeah, you're crying.
I was wrong.
You gotta be more specific than that.
And I think the only two PCs that are here are Jacob and Davian. And Alstro basically explains what she saw and that she was wrong about Aisling and Arlen and Dryston.
Huh. Well, that's something.
Huh. So fucker ate his brother?
He would have died otherwise, yes.
Well, no. I mean, he killed his brother, fine, but he ate him. Rather than just, double tap, finished him off, bury in a shallow grave sort of thing. He ate his lore, right?
Seems that.
What you're just saying.
Yes.
I guess what concerns me out of this story is what exactly are they protecting our country from?
My guess? No, I don't think Saya has anything to really do with that. She seemed as afraid of her people as, well, if that's what Aisling's afraid of, then...
Well, alright, sorry. Let me rephrase that then. Saya's people. Saya included, because, I mean, just speaking personally, I'm pretty scared shitless of Saya.
It's reasonable to be afraid.
Yeah?
Whatever Aisling is doing, it probably has something to do with... that. And she just kind of wipes the tears from her eyes.
As if we need another war to worry about.
I mean, what's one more? It's a big, giant, steaming pile of shit.
Well, from what we've seen of what Saya is capable of, this will be a rather one-sided war.
I mean, well, what Saya's capable of, what any number of, like, what the rest of our people are capable of, what any other, what... we got immortal dragons, we got like ancient relics that give all kinds of wacky abilities, and also we got, people and lore-eating monstrosities who also happen to be our gods, or at least, for the most of the populace. Yeah, it's just a big stinking mess.
By that, am I included in that mess? Jacob?
Troublemaker, you're I'm awful fond, but for anything if not a mess.
On the carry on.
So what do you
But-
suppose we all do then?
Well,
For deal.
no, hey, David, before.
Well, if anything, we should probably just the current work.
Yeah, I tend to concur. Let's keep the postage and politics as we can is messy enough. That includes keeping your friend Saya off our fucking continent. Last thing we need is anyone, and I mean fucking anyone, dabbling in lore eating just because, she got curious and they wanted to learn. Since that does
Maybe
seem
it
to be the
just-
pattern.
Yeah, seems like whenever she shows up, another one joins her ranks.
So let's keep her away from all the power-hungry nobles.
Especially the Magisters.
Especially them fuckers. Last thing we need is them being able to eat anything. Oh god. Yeah, let's not have them eating lore. So yeah, I'd say good first step is just keeping your dreadlocked friend the fuck off of Legolan shores. That's the last thing we fucking need.
Understood. But also, who else NPC-wise is here?
Well, who all did you tell? You told basically anybody who'd be concerned, right?
Yeah.
So Piper's probably here. The others, I imagine others didn't really want to crowd, but we're like, if you need, like, they know it's happening, but Piper's probably here, and she's just kind of watching. She's not exactly sure what's going on, but
So we also might have a well, Arlen, the fratricidal motherfuck, uh, lying comatose or in some kind of stasis around somewheres in Arcanon.
I don't know. Probably.
We agreed that maybe he should stay in the counting sheep kind of way.
Though if he does that, it's unlikely he'll be there forever.
I mean, yeah, no, he'll eventually something will probably wake his ass up, but maybe we can put that off till when there ain't a fucking civil war going on, and all the other shit happening.
There's also a chance of the nobles finding him.
Well, yeah, possibly, but
Well, he's been slumbering there for how long? I really doubt that this will be the day they'll find him.
It's nonetheless a possibility.
I mean, yeah, that's a possibility, but I'm also fucker's an X factor. Like, what we know of him is what you know, and a lot of that comes down to founded Legolan Empire, killed and ate his brother, raised his nephew to become the first emperor and all that jazz. And
It was the son that started the empire, not him.
yeah, no, I get that. But that doesn't necessarily make me feel any more inclined to be awful cuddly towards the fella. He's just a giant ass X factor, and we got enough of those already. Especially ones who are gonna be as powerful as this son of a bitch is probably gonna be. Alright.
Elster just sighs.
I mean, how many fucking sleeping bears do you want to poke there, Loxley? You've been going around with a pointy stick a lot lately, and maybe we should call well enough.
No, that's a very good point, Jacob. In fact, I think there's some things I need to discuss with you about our next moves back home. If you please, Davian.
He just raises his hands and like, oh, don't mind me. I'll be going. I'm glad you're safe.
I'm glad I'm safe too. Thank you for understanding, Davian.
He nods. Right. I'll let you get back on your own work. I have my own.
Piper looks at you for a second. You sure you're alright?
I'm not sure how to feel, but I feel different. I feel like something's been lifted off me. Or on me. Either way, it's something I'll figure out as I go along. I don't think there's one right way or wrong way to do this, but thank you for your concern, Piper. I'm gonna hug my sister.
Yeah, she's gonna give you a hug before she leaves. Just she concern plain on her face as she goes, and she pauses at the door and like looks back one more time before she'll leave.
And yeah, Jake will just give both of them like a nod and Mercer, Piper, as they leave.
Of course.
Respectfully.
Oh, yeah, I would hope so.
I mean, sure, like
I would tip my non-existent hat.
Tip your headband.
I'll tip my headband. Right.
I in fact do have a hat will tip it, and yeah. Once we're alone, all right, Loxley, what do you got?
Well, I actually have a question for you.
All right, shoot.
At what point were you planning on telling me that you attempted to steal Avalon from the Council of Vermin?
I mean, didn't really get far enough to actually think about that part. I wasn't in. Basically, I found out they had Avalon around the same point I figured I'd steal the fucker.
I know, I saw.
Oh, well, probably as soon as I was, assuming I'd gotten away with it, which, as we saw, was pretty fucking unlikely. As soon as I could, going through channels, but.
What on Orn were you planning on doing, Jacob?
Getting it.
She crosses her arm.
Getting it to Etney?
Why?
Because she had a right to know. But all of us fucking did. They had something this big, and they were keeping it fucking hush-hush. No.
And so you stole it?
Yeah, they weren't gonna fucking give it to me. Trust me. I'm not gonna say I wasn't fucking foolhardy, but I tried to go through the right, go through channels, do it as close as we get to official way about getting information. I got stonewalled. Your council didn't want to tell me shit.
And the moment you did get the information you want, you used it to steal from them. Kestrel gave you the information that you wanted, and you found the Avalon, and then you stole from them.
Yeah, well, I mean, what's the point you're going to, Loxley?
You're telling me about poking things with pointed sticks.
Oh, all right. All right. That's all right. No, that's a fair comparison. Though, I guess my point there is, there are some things that need poked. Would you call Lorien something that needs fucking poked? Something that we really need to find more answers about, given how fucking scary as shit it is? Whereas there's things like the Council of Vermin, which has all kinds of secrets, all kinds of willingness to, throw their weight around, but aren't providing answers to their fucking allies. Now, at least to my perception, that's a bear that needs fucking poked.
So you
Yeah.
draw the line wherever you please, then?
No. I draw the line where
You're picking and choosing what right and poked, what shouldn't be poked.
I'm drawing as best I fucking can. I'm not gonna say I'm fucking perfect, but
I'm not saying what Bernard did, what he's doing, but what you did there was neatly intended.
and him fucking putting Edney the execution, being fun with your mind, was that better? And
We still don't know that for sure.
I can put a fucking solid behind it, and if he didn't mind control, clear, do it or else, which is not how we fucking know that. It's supposed to be conversation, not orders being carried out or fucking consequences. The point is, your fucking council. The reason I fucking intend, the reason why I fucking bear, is because they play rules, not the rules that we supposed to represent. Flint, it's a conversation. It's a fucking conversation. Council of Vermin, it's clear, but as soon as we fucking want you to do something, well, shit, either do what we say or lose all that support we're giving you. That's not how you're supposed to be fucking doing things. So yeah, no, I poked that bear. I pissed him off. But there's a fucking difference. I get rash. I ain't perfect by any fucking means. But I also ain't fucking stupid. And I know where my fucking lines are.
I know you aren't.
So yeah, I'm drawing a line. And yeah, it gets awful fucking wavy. It gives here, it takes there, sure, yeah, alright. And I ain't free of being a fucking hypocrite, but we want to draw fucking comparisons between the things we've done, Loxley. I got no regrets about what I'd done with the council. Wanted the best thing, but it was, at least as far as I can tell, the only thing left of me. You say the fucking same?
There's one thing after all of this that I can say for certain when it comes to the council. I may have my own issues with Renard, but when it comes to the council as a whole, when you insult them, it feels the same to me as it would if someone were to insult your rabble. Do I make myself clear, Jacob?
Yeah, you make yourself clear.
The
You gotta
council's
fucking change them so they ain't worthy of that fucking insult?
I'm going to try.
Alright, I'll retract my words when they fucking live up to them.
If anything, the organization that Blaine believed in deserves that chance. I owe that to him at least.
That was Hawk, right?
Yes.
Alright. I trust. Before he passed, I have been a little. I would have maybe given him a bit more credit. But.
There are still men like Hawk part of that organization, Jacob.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm just not sure if they're the ones calling the shots. You're asking me to not be skeptical or not be fucking concerned about an organization that you're fucking trying to take over because you're afraid of its leadership. Loxley.
Every organization comes with their own issues.
Yeah, they do. But some ain't fucking poison to the goddamn core. Like, sons and daughters, my rabble, we ain't perfect. But we're a different fucking order from Renard.
Indeed, you are. That's ultimately all I wanted to say.
Alright.
But please, if you want complete honesty from me, that was a significant thing to leave out of the story, Jacob.
What was?
The fact that you stole Avalon.
I'm pretty sure I said that when we first did this.
Nope.
You just said you were getting into mischief. That's all you said.
Yep.
Oh, well, okay. Sorry.
Yep,
I
you
actually
very
did
much
not-
danced around what you did.
I actually didn't mean to do that. Okay, my bad. Oh. Alright, you got me there. Being said, well. Yeah, no, you got me there.
So I think Alstra's just gonna probably just process the rest of what she just saw.
Yeah. And I imagine you probably leave at that point, or one of you guys will probably leave, or
Yeah, I'll probably
whatever.
head out. Like, Jake will probably leave. Yeah, actually, I didn't, like, I kind of assumed between, like, the overall context I provided and, like, referring to it as mischief, I kind of figured that was the implication. But yeah, I
Nope.
guess I didn't. I didn't explicitly say it, but yeah. Regardless. Meh. Me as Jacob, like, didn't mean to actually hold that back. Like, we just kind of assumed that you would have
Though-
gotten that from context.
Though it actually fits how he operates a lot to leave out certain details like that. Because he does kind of do that sometimes.
He ain't perfect.
Oh no, by no means.
But yeah, no, actually, I did. But yeah, I like it works out. But yeah, I didn't actually mean to hold that back. Whoops.
And yeah, so
Yep.
so beyond that, the rest of the first two legs of your voyage are pretty peaceful. As you guys make the majority of the way across the sea, towards Okeanos itself. Is there anything that you guys want that anybody needed to do before you get to Okeanos?
Not specifically.
Okay. And I know, Alstro, you also had the idea of talking to Tristan. Do you want to do that on the water, or do you want to do that at Okeanos itself?
Probably on the water, but we can do that at a different time because I just did a thing.
That's fair. All right. Cool. In that case,
Though.
what's up?
did Davy want to have his talk with his mercenaries before or after I
I
leave?
think he was going to do that
I need
once he gets
Delphine
Orion
there.
and Fane
Orion Delphine.
Gotcha.
all in one place. So probably at Okeanos before they, as they take a quick stop. So probably
Gotcha.
after you leave.
Just because it's gonna be more convenient with the letter, so I'd rather not just have 2 meetings.
Yeah.
2 meetings.
I mean, I'm cool with doing that because honestly, some of the stuff in Okeanos is going to be dealing with you too. You are kind of like piecing out pretty quick. So, we could just roll right into that and then kind of go with it.
Gotcha.
Like,
Is everybody else okay with that?
yeah, like,
Fine.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah, go.
and so a few days later, after you kind of calm down from that and have time to process things, the thought strikes you to go and speak to Tristan about a couple of things. Follow up to your previous conversation back at the temple, and you would find him probably trying to make himself useful. Probably trying to honestly, probably one of the things that he's actually has been helping out with a lot is making sure that Lyra's good, because he only has one arm, so there's only so much he can do as far as like actual shipwright stuff is concerned. But one thing he can definitely do is make sure that she's comfortable. So he's probably been doing a lot to make sure that she has everything that she needs to function and such like that. Which also means that he's spending time with Neely, which is
Sorry.
interesting nonetheless, but also eye-opening, because
Playing with the devil.
she is in fact the devil, but she's also a sweetheart.
A bean.
She is a little black bean. So
I hear stuff in the background.
so you probably actually encounter the two of them bringing dinner back to Lyra. And so as they're just kind of walking, and Neely is talking at him about how probably actually telling him about some of the stories that she remembers from when she was a kid, growing up with her big brother, which is also a strange thing because, talking about other dragons. But then as they kind of you kind of catch them in the hall, she like kind of grinds to a stop, and her wings kind of like flap a little bit, like to stop her as, from her own momentum, just from keeping up with the much taller man. And she, oh, hi, Elstro.
Good afternoon, Neely. And now I'm gonna give her a head pat.
Attention. And she smiles, and she of course holds the 2 plates of food up and is like and explains that she's bringing these to Lily.
How diligent you are.
And she nods happily.
Would
And
you
she's also totally grounded right now, so she's on her best behavior.
keep up behavior like this and they might let you out on good behavior?
I still think Cecil might ground me for a century or 2, but I don't regret what I did. She nods.
Atta girl. Anyway,
Tristan looks at her and just kind of shakes her head with a smile.
And do you mind if I... Well, first, Tristan, do you mind if I speak with you?
Of course, Alstramaria.
Neely, do you think you can handle getting this to Lily all by yourself?
And
Important solo mission.
she looks up at Tristan, and he's carrying a small flagon of water, and she kind of like walks up to it, and like she kind of like brings the like holding two plates, kind of like crosses her arms and like holds the flagon like up against her chest while still balancing the two plates. And we're gonna see how this works. And she kind of like her wings flare out for some support a little bit. We're gonna see if she can fucking do this. She almost trips and falls, but she manages to catch it, and she's gonna be okay. But yeah, she stumbles a little bit, and it's cute as she toddles her way out towards Lily. Like she straight up falls and like beats her wings to like stabilize herself for a second, and then like keeps going. And then it's just the two of you.
So no doubt you heard about my delving into the rest of Avalon.
He nods. I did.
There was some I actually wanted to tell you, if you are inclined to listen.
He closes his eyes for a minute. It would be doing a disservice. It would be doing you a disservice if I did not lend you my.
And she explains what she saw.
I imagine you guys might make your way up to the deck also.
Yeah, like talking.
Yeah.
So I was ultimately wrong about Aisling. At least I think so. In the end, Dryston was consumed by his doubts and suspicions, and Arlen was blinded by his trust. Though she isn't perfect, she does care immensely for her people. And perhaps there might be a way that she is listening after all.
He kind of looks out over the water as he listens. He doesn't say anything. His stone arm resting down at his side. His other one kind of cupping his chin. He has a bit of stubble from the journey that he's not been able to really shave effectively.
But is she getting, like, the go-ahead to continue?
Yeah, no, he's listening intently.
What Aisling is, what she's able to do. They're able to share a bond between others, and it's potentially a bond that Aisling shares with, well, every human she's ever created. And I do know this, right, Eric?
It definitely would make a lot of sense.
Yeah. It's conjecture, but
Yeah.
it's potential. Potentially she can feel what they feel and hear them when they cry out for her. But I don't think she has the power to do everything for them. Though perhaps there's a chance that where she is right now, perhaps she's trying to find a way to fix that. Everything that I believe she did to protect humanity, her children. Whether it was wrong or right, misguided, flawed, she still had love. She still has love, wherever she is. And perhaps she is listening.
And what do you think, Alstro? What do you believe she is? What do you believe that she's doing?
I honestly don't know. But I believe she's like well, a mother concerned for her children. That's at least what the evidence points to. What I saw of her. Well, what Arlen saw of her.
You know, between all of the things that you learn, all the things that you've taught others about what you've seen, what you've experienced, truly is enough to make a man question his faith. And yet, from what I knew of you before, Alstro, before any of this, you were never a particularly pious young girl, were you?
She shakes her head. You knew me. I frankly thought all of it was propaganda meant to keep us in line.
And now, you've seen something that only one's wildest dreams could conjure. How does that make you feel?
Strange.
Can I have you make a charm check for me real quick? It's going to be against 3 difficulty. You're going to add 1 setback dice, 2 boost dice. And you know what? I'll go ahead and upgrade the difficulty just so we have that chance to spin.
And I'm going to steal another point back from you. To upgrade it, so we're at a net. I'm going to intense focus.
Closes his eyes again. And a smile comes across his face. Thank you. For telling me this, Alstromeria.
Just what I've told you now, or?
Perhaps and perhaps not. But you were right. People do deserve to know the truth. When we returned back to Legala, I still have connections with a number of small chapels across Legala. Once you've gotten your manuscript to a point that you are comfortable with distributing it to the populace, I can do what I can. It's not much. But I believe what you've seen is truth. And I believe that I want to believe that perhaps you're right. That Ashling is out there still. Fighting for us. Loving us.
Thank you, Tristan. That said, I don't know what I'm going to do about the information on lore. That in itself could be dangerous if it gets out to the wrong people.
The power of the gods themselves. In the wrong hands, it could be ruinous.
It's a terrifying power.
One that you now command. In some small measure.
I wouldn't say command. She looks incredibly uneasy.
With great power comes great responsibility, Alstramaria.
Die now.
No, we wield it with the utmost responsibility.
He nods. I'm glad to hear it. All the same, while the people deserve to know the truth, I do not think the world will fault you for keeping out the details on how one would follow in your footsteps.
How one becomes, she pulls out quotation marks, a god.
A chilling thought, to be certain.
Thank you for listening to me, Tristan. It can't have been easy.
Most certainly not. But neither is facing a young child who is of a race you've been told is the ultimate evil. And being unable to prevent yourself from smiling.
Well, if the race is the Manichaeans are the ultimate evil, well, that means that, well... And she did explain to him before that probably a lot of mages come from Manichaeans.
Yeah.
It means a lot of the people in charge are descended from the greatest of all evils. I don't think many people are going to be too happy to hear that.
I wonder what they thought of the dragons. Truly.
Ashling?
He nods.
I don't know. That said, though it is what brought us into existence, I don't know how I feel about Aisling and her sisters transforming humans in such a way. But ultimately, what's done is done.
Yes.
In the past. And here we are. Well, I'll leave you be. Good evening, Tristan.
And to you.
Better make sure Neely hasn't dropped the food.
Yes, I suppose that is a subject of some import.
And she bows and takes her leave.
You know, Alstromeria, he says as you leave. If you follow this path, there are some who will call you a prophet.
Perhaps. They can call me what they want. I doubt I'll be able to stop them either way.
Thus is the nature of mankind. And he offers one more slight smile before turning back towards the water.
She smiles back. And yeah.
And yeah, the Alstra Shrines. Depending on how that charm check went, that could have been very good, very bad, or just regular good. It just went regular.
Which just kind of strikes me down.
That could have been one of them. If you succeeded with triumph, though, that would have been very interesting. Very, very interesting.
Yeah, no, my power level's not nearly high enough.
Not yet. You need more worshippers or something. No thanks. No thanks. Okay, maybe a few. All right. And so, as the days go by, and the winter months slowly begin to thaw. On the Cecil is sunning herself. Emily on the boats are definitely like hanging out in the sun. On especially sunny days, that's definitely happening. It's but making your way up towards Okios. The arriving before the fleet by a good few days. At which point the fleet will begin to show. But you guys are going, Alstro, you the Dragon Queen and the rest of the people who are on there, you guys are going to be getting to Okeanos on Kivara 7th, which is the second month of spring. So you guys pretty much sail through the entirety of the first month, and plus like a little bit here. And so effectively it's May weather in the middle of the ocean, which is largely tropics. So it got really nice really fast after the first couple of months, as you got further away from Zodia. And it's a nice day as the Dragon Queen rides its way into Okeanos. As you guys approach, Varro, obviously, with his spyglass at the front, with a big smile beneath his beard, lets out a bellow of "Land ho!" as he sees the conglomerate of ships and islands and small little pieces of land all kind of hitched together in this expansive super complex of ingenuity, jury rigged, and natural landforms. That is almost too impressive not to let your jaw kind of slack a bit as you see it. And of course, the same exact thing is effectively happening like 5 days later when the next group shows up. So effectively, all of you guys, even if it's at different times, would be experiencing the same thing as you guys see the wonderful, incredibly unique architecture that dots the land of Okeanos. It built the buildings oftentimes as vertical as they are horizontal, wrecked ships and pieces of architecture from every corner of the known world is built into these structures. The structures almost themselves seem to be hewn from ships. Boats of every size imaginable, except for the really big one that you guys are riding on, because that's not imaginable. Are sailing in and out of the myriad ports in this area. As you guys were, of course, the Dragon Queen, of course, didn't have to pay shit because it's the fucking Dragon Queen. But of course, all of the Zodian fleet, of course, was sent all of the payments that they needed for all of the vessels with small schooners that would arrive at points. And as you guys make headway into the ports, as you kind of go under and around all of this. If anybody wants to be out and seeing this, feel free.
Fuck yeah, I'm out and seeing this.
Yeah, Hoden's on deck.
And anyone on the Dragon Queen, by the way, sees Wilson basically pressed up, like almost leaning off the edge of the front of the bow, his eyes wide with awe. I can't ever get enough of this place.
Lean even further and you're gonna fall off.
And he smiles and he turns back to you. He says, "Don't tempt me, Commander."
I think at that point I'm just gonna push him into the water.
And so yeah, you push him off, and Varro lets out a belly laugh as he goes tumbling in, and you just see a sopping wet shirt fly up and flop over the edge of the deck, and as you look down, Wilson is absolutely just backstroking his way towards Okeanos, maybe 100 or 200 feet away at this point. Just seeing old shanty of the ship, it kind of goes through. And I feel like Orion being this in a bit of awe, because the last time he was here was like 20 years ago, and we're not 20 years ago, but like 10 years ago, and it was a lot smaller. It grows very quickly. And so he's probably at the edge, kind of like looking with awe and almost disbelief at all of this as he looks to the folks on the ship. And what's everybody else's reaction generally? Let's just go down and we'll see what the So Hoden, what are you saying here as this super conglomerate comes into view?
I'm gonna turn to who I think, like, whoever's like nearby, who's probably like a sailor or something, maybe Misty or like another like crew member. Like, what happens when they want to go sailing? Do they all go at once?
That's what you have the sailable ships for, love. Those ones don't sail.
Oh, okay. I'm at a loss for words here. This is nothing like we have at home. I mean, it's like land, but not land.
To be fair, love, there's nothing like this anywhere else but here.
That's a fair point.
And I feel like Cygnus probably walks forward a little bit, and you see him breathe an audible sigh of relief as he sees land, be it ship land or real land. It will certainly be nice to get off of this vessel, even for a day or two.
Off one ship onto another. Which Misty, meanwhile, is like on a rope, just leaning over, just like standing on the edge.
Have you been here before, Misty?
I lived here.
Is it any more stable standing on those ships than this one?
Oh yes, but well, actually, compared to this one, that's potentially iffy. But
Oh boy.
for the most part, it's fine.
Well, take your word for it, I guess.
And Orion is just kind of like, still kind of in shock. It's just like, this is a marvel of architecture is an understatement. I have no idea how they managed to do something like this, and I'm currently on a ship that's over 1,000 feet long.
Cecil's gonna look up. And honestly, probably not too far from where Misty and Hoden are on all of the, like Misty, Hoden, and Cygnus are all of this, and she goes from that conversation to, or like listening. And how long did it take them to make this? Do you know?
Well, the nation's been around for what? Just under 40 years, I believe? Maybe around 40 years. Chances are, from the looks of it, and you actually totally see, like, in the distance, like, there are scaffoldings and stuff, like, and there's, like, literally half of a ship that they are nailing into the side. Like, they're literally in the process of turning an old flotsam and jetsam into more stuff.
Which Misty would point out to Hoden as it's over there.
Also, Cecil's eyes sort of cross for a second, and she kind of like leans, like cherub leans, just like the one arm up on the deck, and then like chin and palm. Humans are pretty amazing. It took us thousands of years to build anything. Oh, she kind of smiles and sighs, like just, huh.
There are two kinds of masters, it seems like. The ones who made this, and he knocks on the ship, and the ones who made that. Both marvels in their own right, but, well, you wouldn't think one was much looking at it, and the other, well, you can't help but see.
I feel like she's back a little bit, but Bianca hears that, and there's just an just ever slight grin washes over her face as she barks out some orders to the rest. They get ready to pull this massive stop, so it doesn't just.
I want to watch all the pirates drool over this ship.
By the way,
I want that for her.
By the way, as the Atlas comes in, we're ahead. But yeah, like these are a bunch of tiny like rowboats and stuff with people of all creeds, all shapes and sizes. Togwell and Lagoos abound. By the way, you guys see Togwell and Lagoos abound. Virtually every boat or Lagoos has at least some kind of representation there. As you guys are going to be pulling into port, plainly see, you'll very plainly see any number of Lagoos from. As you go by, you see a small ship that looks as if there's been a hive constructed around the mast, and you see a number of bee Togwell on it.
Oh, that's fun.
You see alligator Togwell all over the fucking place. There are avian Togwell in the skies, flitting from upper nest to upper nest, as like some of them are enjoying a tavern that literally has no way to get up on it except for flying, and you just see like Togwell that are really good at climbing and flying up there, like that, and loggers, like that's it. And like all sorts of wonders of architecture that you could never even expect.
I'd like to make one note as they draw closer and this starts to happen. That like the like admiring cherub pose turns into a slow sink down, and Cecil just affixes her cloak back on.
And by the way, there are so many little pirate kids looking at the giant ship coming in town because this is a bit of a spectacle.
I'm waving to all of them.
Orion is also waving to all of them because they're very cute.
Human babies.
And Togwell and Lagu's babies.
I shouldn't look at them.
I'm not worthy.
Houghton
And,
kind of whispers to Cecil, like, we might learn a thing or two before we go into Legala here.
The stammer comes back in full force. Perhaps, or maybe I should just She said she looks a little bit sad, but perhaps I should just stay on the boat.
Oh. And miss out on all this? That's your choice, I guess.
I don't want to inconvenience anyone. She peeks back over, looking at the alligators.
It'll be fine.
It won't be easy, Cecil, but this could be a good first place to start.
She squints and nods. Just give me a moment.
Oh, don't worry.
Since I'm gonna be maybe here for a long time, I'm just gonna need to take this a step at a time. Please.
Orion just looks at you.
Cecil ignores that look and continues to sit on the floor. Go to someone else. Nothing is changing about the situation for the next 15 minutes.
By the way, Misty, he is totally joining you in the ropes leaning over the side.
Awesome. Be my rope buddy.
Yeah.
I imagine you guys are tossing a spyglass back and forth.
Oh yeah.
And you guys see ships from every corner of the known world here too. There are Fanwingi's ships. There are Togwell and Lagu's vessels. There are all sorts of things here. Legalan, Ptolemite, everything. And you see all sorts of flags from national flags to independent merchant flags and everything. And yeah. As the Dragonween I guess that's Cecil. And as all of the people who would be rather interested in this obviously are watching. If there's any NPCs you're curious about, let me know. Because there's a lot of them, so I'm not going to go through all of them. Neely is probably really wants to go out and fly and see this place because it's really cool, but also isn't because she's being told that that's a very bad idea. Because remember the whole thing that they would probably kill her. And as Piper looks at this place, because this is all the first time she's seen anything like this, she's just kind of looking amazed, and Liliana is standing a few paces near her, and Piper's actually quietly is describing things that she's seeing to her. Describing some of the ships, some of the buildings as best she can to Liliana, and she smiles. And she grabs onto Piper's hand, just gently. And Astra, you probably would see and hear that.
Not crying. I'm tearing up though.
Of course.
Probably gonna hold her head or something.
I would not be surprised. And this is
Trying to prevent me from
which she after being told once, she listens. She knows that she shouldn't. She just really wants to because it'd be really fun. But as as you're going up, and Piper's describing all of the masts. She describes all of the amazing Togwa and Lagu's, a man with an eye patch, a man with two eye patches, who pulls one up and seems to have a perfectly good eye, and then Alstro, as the ship begins to pull up towards the dock that Varro and his crew were planning on docking into, you see someone on the deck. A familiar face. A very familiar face.
And does she see me?
She definitely is standing not too many paces away from the water, kind of gently pacing and kind of staring out at the vessels, squinting a bit as they come by, looking for something.
Boy. And Alstro points her out to Piper. Piper. That's
And she looks at you.
her. She gestures to the woman with white hair.
And as you point, that's when you see Rosalind, her hand kind of shielding the sun from her face as she kind of like looks around. She stops, and her eyes fall on you from across the water.
Piper would be able to see fear on Alstro's face right now. Like, when she sees she's going to see me for what I am now.
And as Piper's pointing them out, and you point her out, and she says, and she kind of squeezes Liliana's hand, and that's Mom.
That's Mama. Yeah.
And she turns back with a smile on her face to Liliana. Did you hear that? She's right here. And Liliana squeezes your hand, Alstro.
We shouldn't keep her waiting then, should we?
And as the ship sails in closer, you see a soft and gentle smile on her face, but then you get close enough to really make out more. And her eyes kind of widen. And a hand kind of goes up to her mouth. Just kind of almost subconsciously. As the Dragon Queen pulls in. And it seems like an eternity before the ship is steadied with the anchor. And the boarding ramp is lowered and secured. In that entire time, you and your mother were just staring at each other. Unblinking, not more than 25 feet away from you up on the ship, and her not more than a few feet below and over on the dock. Piper was saying something to you, but it kind of didn't focus. And
Ramp.
And Liliana takes Piper's arm. She'll help her down. Are you going in front of them? Just like right in front of them.
Yeah, might as well to get stuff out of the. We're all together now.
And as you walk down the gangplank, you finally come face to face with your mother after what seems like an eternity. She looks at you and still her hand's still kind of covering her mouth. You can see her eyes are wide and glassy. Alstro.
Yes.
And her hand slowly moves from her mouth. She takes a slow step forward and then another step, and she closes the distance between you and throws her arms around you. Oh, Astro, what has this god's forsaken war done to you?
She's just gonna hug her mom.
And she buries her face into your shoulder for a moment. And she cries.
Probably just hug her more tightly. Probably gonna start tearing up too.
Astro, I missed you so much.
I missed you too, Mama. But both Lilies are here too.
And she almost, as she like slowly backs away from the hug, her hand still gently on your shoulders. She pulls back and she looks past you. And Piper and Lily are standing close by. I imagine, actually, Davian, you're probably not far behind because you are also pretty close with Rosalind. Like,
I'm not gonna ruin them. I'm just gonna.
but I imagine you're there. Like, even if it's just a few
there.
paces behind.
Just a few paces.
And Piper takes a step forward. Her hands, her hand moving away from Liliana's for a moment. She kind of puts them behind her back. She waves bashfully. Hello, mother. It's nice to finally meet you. I've heard so much about you, and um, and Piper is unable to prevent herself from starting to cry. And I never really knew that I was going to have a mother before, and so and Rosalind just gently takes a step past you, and she walks up to Piper, who almost seems to shrink. And Rosalind puts a hand on her cheek, and she like gently faces her face back up towards her instead of looking at the ground. And she smiles. I never thought I'd be able to. I never thought I'd have the privilege of seeing what a beautiful young woman you've grown up into. And Piper begins sobbing as she throws her arms around Rosalind in a hug that's perhaps a little bit too strong, that kind of knocks the wind out of her for a moment. She laughs through some coughing, and well, and as she lets go, she turns back towards Liliana, and she reaches down and she grabs her hands with both of hers. After all of this, our paths cross once again. All this time, I had absolutely no idea that you were right across the water. That you were Queen Lyra the whole time. And you never told me. And Liliana, yes, I suppose I didn't. Sorry. I was always the irresponsible one. And Rosalind shakes her head. Truthfully, I should have probably figured it out. After all, you always did like being pampered like a queen, after all. And there's a twinkle in her eye, and Liliana chuckles. And Rosalind gives her half-sister a hug and a kiss on the cheek. It's good to have you back, sister. And as she pulls away from the hug, I have not forgotten about you either, Davian. And she gestures for you to come over and give her a hug.
He grins as he just approaches and gives her a hug. Well, it's great to see you again. Though, aren't you a little far away from home?
Yes, that's something that I suppose we'll have to speak on.
I suppose when you heard what was going on in Ascension, you decided to wait here.
Yes, I did, but I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Connor.
What?
She smiles. I can explain later, but for now, I think I have a few other people I have to say hello to. And at that point, Sylvia and Nate also come down the ramp, and Sylvia smiles, and she's gonna rush forward and she's gonna give Rosalind a quick hug as well. And Sylvia is like, and they talk for a few and Sylvia mentions Orno is a small world, you know. Who would have thought that that Davey'd be the one run into little Lily after all this time? And he dated her. It's quite the...
Oh man.
And she like looks back at you with a what look.
She didn't know.
And Rosalind's eyes flare over to Davian, and
Slowly,
her eyebrow raises.
he slowly looks at her and just smiles. Surprise!
And
I was gonna tell you soon. Just thought that was a conversation for another time.
and she puts a hand over her mouth, and she starts to laugh quietly. That's truly too much. You know, this is not the first time that you've met.
I figured.
It was the funniest thing, you know. And she turns and she gestures and says, I've already reserved a table at a fine establishment nearby. I figured you might do for some cuisine from the land after all of this. For us to catch up, yes?
Of course, Mother.
And she looks at you with a pained look in her eyes, but not one of any anger.
I should honestly probably disguise myself, though.
Yes, perhaps that might be for the best.
I will be right back then.
And she watches you as you go. And she sighs quietly. And and as you come back and you disguise yourself, I imagine you just make yourself look like just a slightly different version of Alstro with less antecedent features.
Mhm.
And she, as you guys walk down the lane down towards where you're going, and as everybody else kind of disseminates to unpack things or resupply or just go and see the sights, she does reach out and she gives your hand a squeeze. And there is a smile behind the sad eyes. I mean, she always has sad eyes, but they're like
Mhm.
sadder.
Extra sad now. God, what happened to you? My child that is sometimes an asshole.
That's a talk over dinner, like usual.
And as you guys go and Sylvia and the rest kind of take a couple of steps forward, she does linger just for a brief second. With Alstro. The scar is gone.
Yes.
A side effect of the
I did that myself. I was frankly tired of looking at it. It's probably selfish, though.
She smiles and she kind of grabs your hand, gives it another shake and a gentle squeeze. We Loxleys are a notoriously selfish bunch. We are. Despite everything else, you look beautiful.
And she's probably actually tearing up. Thank you, Mom. Hug.
And she tears up back and silently sobs a bit. And you guys very quickly catch up. I suppose I should probably catch up. I am the one that knows where we're going after all. And she seems a lot more tired than she was the last time you're with her. And I of course imagine that Delphine is also with this group because you know, like she fucking knows. Especially now, like she knew and now she knows. And along the way she explains that when Liliana and Alstromeria were born, after we were surprised by the two of them, Davian was, well, he was always, well, for the brief time that they spent together before they left. If you would remember, little Davy was inconsolable when it was time for you to leave. She says, looking at Piper. We practically had to bribe him for him to let go of your for him to let you let go of his finger. Funny that the two of you found each other again.
Huh.
There was a saying I heard a long time ago. The winds are wicked and wily, but whether you want to or whether you don't, the sail can't help but follow. And she, of course, would explain that your parents are not here, that they are back with Connor. And as you guys get some food. By the way, it's been taken care of. Rosalind pays for it. She kind of dug into her nest egg to and pieced the fuck out. Plus she called on some favors. And she explains to you the things that have happened over the last couple of weeks. She explains the missive that Alstra sent, that her, John, and and your parents, Davian, were we had all of our things packed and we're planning on meeting you across in Zodia. Especially after we learned that my sister was there the entire time. But that was when Prince Connor showed up with a deal of his men. They offered, humbly requested that Richter and Delia assist him, that they step up to a position of leadership. And though it took some coaxing, largely from Delia, Richter agreed. Connor, even you know of the stones.
Alistair nods.
He offered to return the one that his mother gave him, knowing that I once held it.
Wait, what?
I suppose I should explain some things. It's him, after all.
Please do.
And after she briefly explains that Connor and that kind priest by the name of Laird were responsible for helping her escape after one of the former members of the mercenary brigade tried to bring her into custody. By the way, Davian, you know Terrell Brennan. You have met him before. You are not close with him, but you know that he was a member of the mercenary brigade as well, and you also know that he's one of the ones that did not call or did not return the call.
And we know she told us that Alexis was the one that gave the order.
Yes, she would tell you that as well. And that Alexis Blackwild was the one responsible for giving the order.
Well, it's a good thing that we have.
Is.
Well, it's a good thing that we have, and kind of just gives a look to Davian, but not going to say it out loud here.
I
Say we
sincerely
have a surprise.
hope that you can make him pay.
She gives a devious little smirk.
Well, this first snake was messing with our family.
Though I suppose it's my fault. I'm sorry, Mother. Mama.
She almost like gives you a look like excuse you. But she smiles and I suppose you might remember what I always used to say. Still do say now.
I'm the world's fool.
And she nods.
Mama. Something is following us.
She kind of like closes her eyes for a moment and I know.
What is it?
Well, Quite the question, Alstromaria. One that, in order to answer, requires a bit of a legend. One that I shouldn't even know. What do you know of Fanwangu?
About it as much as anyone else in this room does. They value secrecy. She says kind of tiredly.
They do. They value their secrecy. They value much. Legend says that. Legend says that a long time ago, the leaders of their people, the twin emperors, were gifted 3 relics, small stones, not unlike the one that one of you likely is carrying right now. The protection,
Takes it out.
the protection of 1001 shields, the strength of 1001 storms, and the wisdom of 1001 years. I must admit I know much about them, but I know that they went missing about 100 years ago, give or take. I heard legends of it. Stories in the brief time that I was able to spend out listening. You hear a lot when you're looking for employment in the places that I have. And over the years, I've been able to piece enough together with that and with the information that I gleaned from the stones themselves and from how they came into my possession. The stones were stolen, replaced with replacements. False versions that look every bit the same but lack the blessings that they were given, or perhaps the curses. They were stolen by a Vulpine law goose by the name of Ji Ruo. From what I understand, a rather notorious trickster and thief, but never one who committed such a bold act as the one that she's been given credit for. That woman was my mother.
Alstra's eyes just kind of, what?
Huh.
Your grandmother was a lagoose.
Your grandmother was a law goose.
Huh. Just kind of blinks.
I never had the chance to meet her, unfortunately.
What happened to her?
I She was killed. She got a bit too bold, and she was punished for it. I I saw her. I met her very, very briefly. I barely remember. I was so young. Liliana was just born. And I looked into the incident as much as I could, without attracting too much attention from the Templars. But somewhere along the line, Rua made her way across the sea to Legala. For whatever reason, she seduced our father, she says, looking over to Liliana, likely trying to get to some higher echelon, some tier. Something that she could get to, something that she could, likely her next big score, if you will. Or perhaps she always knew that the man was a royal bastard, deserved to be punished. She left me there after I was born. I think the only reason I wasn't just killed outright was likely because of my hair. They likely thought to use me as an offering to the Haventree family, to garner some amount of favor. Only a couple of years later, she was caught. And executed for treason, theft, all sorts of things. But I read the transcripts. She was clearly had a flair for the dramatic. As she was executed by the Templars who caught her, she claimed that she was the world's fool. But what does that make the fools who kill her? Those were her last words. Judging from the fact that every Templar that was involved in her capture and execution was found with some sort of horrible religious snafu or killed in a freak accident over the course of the next couple of years. The fact that the Lockhaven family crumbled within less than half of a decade afterwards. Perhaps there is more to her words than just bluster. I don't know how she did it, but she left me the stones. the shield and the wisdom. I was so young I didn't know what they were. I don't think anyone knew what they were. Baubles I'd found. Somehow they weren't taken from me. And I learned that they were more than just good luck charms. I don't know what they are or what they're capable of, truly, but they're strange. But considering the old legend involved her taking two of them, the three, it made me wonder what happened to the third one. And something tells me that she got more ancient relics when she plucked them, whatever mural she took them from. Rua was the world's fool, it seems, but what does that make the one that? What does that make the ones who are related to them?
That is a lot to take in.
I'm Zalstro. With everything else, the last thing that you needed to know was that on top of everything else, your mother was beast touched.
Mother thing. You're still you.
You know, that'll explain her.
Davy, I feel racist.
Perhaps if it wasn't true.
Excuse you.
And Rosalind kind of chuckles a bit.
The fact that I am partially a trickster has nothing to do with my vulpine heritage.
No, it just happens to run in the family.
Well, doesn't
at
that
least-
make... And her eyes glance over to Piper.
But me? I didn't do nothing.
You've got a family legacy to live up to now, Piper.
And I think everybody probably has a good laugh at that.
Better get on that, Piper. You've got a lot of time to make up for. You can start by throwing crabs at Davian.
Let's nod. He takes a sip of his drink.
Oh, he screams like a little girl when you do.
Ah, I think I can second that idea. Nate says. That sounds
Try it, and I will.
absolutely hilarious.
Nate, you're agreeing with me.
Don't get used to it. And he takes a sip of his stein.
Oh my god, the world is ending.
Yeah, maybe it is, but
As long as I'm with all of you, say I lived a satisfying life.
My god, Piper. We're descended from potentially the greatest thief in all of Fangrangu, and a god.
and in Lagala, from what I understand, after doing a bit more research into criminal records involving Fox Lagus, which are of course numerous thanks to our glorious nation, I found a number of stories involving a character by the name of Reynard. Can't help but wonder if she had something to do with that too. I'm sure you're familiar with some of the old tales.
Uh-huh. She says weakly.
At this point, I'm chugging my drink. Just
She was... You think that... Well, she's helped start the... Oh, wait. Yeah, no, that's not... Actually, never mind.
Yeah, she knows nothing about the Council
Well-
of Vermin whatsoever.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later.
Nope.
Nope.
Nope. We're not.
Did my grandma start my criminal organization? We just don't know.
Ah.
That's hilarious.
God damn it. It's a small horn.
But yes, Mother, I've heard the story. Mama. I do say Mama. I'm just.
Yeah, no, I gotcha.
Yeah. Yes, Mama, I've heard the stories. You think that she was Reynard?
She shrugs. Perhaps, perhaps not. It's hard to say for sure. I wouldn't be surprised if there were plenty of people throughout the course of history who claimed to be for no other reason than for the power behind the idea of the name. But that's about as much as I ever figured out.
Well, did a damn good job of it.
Well, I've had a good few years to ask around.
Well, perhaps let's do a round of drinks to good old grandmama. Good old grandmama Zerio.
I can drink to that. And she will, in fact, drink to that.
Crime runs in my family. God damn it.
Wow. Wow.
I'm royalty and crime.
All of those things.
God damn it, where is that picture?
I love you, Kat.
I need to find this picture.
I'm a royal pain in the ass. I am.
You are a royal
Yes.
pain,
You
yes.
are. A toast to the royal pain in the ass.
You flatter me, Davian.
Oh, I know.
By the way, I do have a reference picture for her because it literally won't matter because she's been dead for like 40 years.
She's been dead.
But basically, picture this, but with the same super duper bright orange eyes that Rosalind has, and like super tan skin. You cannot find tan skin fox girls anywhere, but this is the best I
No,
could
that's
do.
fair. That's hard to find.
Mhm.
Ooh.
Probably should, yeah. Okay, well, Kat will probably alter her.
Oh,
But-
there.
She looks
Either
so
way, yeah.
sad.
Wow, like you.
That's how
and
they
It
get
was
you.
probably all an
Mother
act.
And
That wistful, sad look, it makes the guys go crazy.
Noted.
Gonna save that for a rainy day.
Alstro's journal. Wistful looks. Down. Wow. You know.
yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
and then Elstro's going to like go in and tell Mama what she learned.
About your
Yeah.
great uncle.
Yeah.
And I mean, she'll honestly take it in as much strides as one could kind of take. Like, so you ate the book? Okay. You know what? My mother was a super criminal, so I'm willing to believe that.
I mean,
And of course, I imagine you guys spend a lot of time catching up, a lot of basically Piper tells her entire life story because you better believe that she wants to hear all about her fucking little kid.
Oh my god.
oh, remember that one time I was almost kidnapped for doing the right thing?
That
Wait,
yeah,
What?
You knew
Oh,
about
yeah.
that.
it's because you're the
I did-
world's fool.
and they all died. Huh.
Wow.
She just like kind of. Oh.
Well,
Everything that surrounds your family involves tragedy, but also comedy,
okay.
but also tragedy.
I'll just take comedy. Thank you.
Hey, Davian, you're marrying into that family.
I am well aware.
She may be the world's fool, but what does that make the guy who falls in love with her?
The greatest fool of all. And I wouldn't have it any other way.
She's definitely she would blush at that. So good job. She's meeting a lot of
Blushy,
people. Blushy, blushy. Oh my god. Steph is being ridiculous over here. I'm sorry. All right, we're gonna take a quick 5-minute break, and then
Moon, but like.
I mean, yeah, but
well, yeah.
Well, they left their shit behind whenever they went to the moon and left them with Fang Rangu.
Hey, but you know what this means also? That Rosalind is part Fang Rangoose. So
Fang Rangoose.
She's a Fang Rangoose. So she can go with Liliana.
That's actually a conversation that I need to have sometime today.
Yeah. That's on the docket.
Oh yeah, no, I'm fine with whatever. It's just a matter of like, speaking of which.
Yeah, remember that time when I said, yeah, she might have something.
Something.
Yeah. No, that's what I thought with Steph. I mentioned that. It was like she might be.
But little did you know, she's also.
Yeah, I also knew about your
Part
grandma.
loggers.
I also knew about your grandma for a little while, so I was just like, I don't know. Congratulations, Astra Maria. You're a furry.
You're furry.
You're distantly a furry.
I have.
You are 1/4
That's why I
fox
have-
loggers.
And that's why I have dark skin.
Because you're a furry?
Yeah, I mean, well,
Yeah.
if you think about most of our Togwell and Lagus, Cecil included in the shifters, they all have pretty dark skin.
God damn it, Ice.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
That's perfect.
Noodles.
Noodles!
What next?
All right. Now that the intermission is over, we can get back to the fun.
Oh.
And today's soundtrack once again brought to you by Suisse No
Man,
Gargantia.
Gargantia had a great soundtrack.
And so for the majority of the crew from this ship, you guys are going to be waiting for the Zodian fleet to get here. Though Alstro, you and the rest are preparing to leave a little bit earlier. On a vessel that will be here to pick you up at the aforementioned time.
The drop point at the rendezvous point.
Exactly. And
Also, I give Mama the thing.
oh yeah, of course. You got her the that locket, right?
I got her a locket with tiny portraits of both myself and Piper, and if Piper is okay with it, a lock of both of our hairs.
Oh, she'd be fine with that, yeah. It's a lot of hair.
Yeah. So, like, a little bit of hair, because, like...
Yeah, obviously.
That's a very, like, Victorian thing to do.
So she shaved her head?
And
no, Piper, not your full head.
Whoops.
Piper, a lock! A lock!
A lot?
Does that...
Did you say a lot?
Yeah,
And,
what have I done?
What have you done?
And yeah, so that said, Alstro, 2 days after you guys arrive, a a crow togwell. Or actually, probably Vet himself has probably already made it here.
Ooh.
Vet probably comes and probably finds you and is very much like, I could go and deliver these to everybody, but this seems way easier. And he's just going to give you all of the letters.
I hope you're happy, Prince.
I'm not happy until you cry.
You still owed me a favor, right?
I did.
Okay. Consider it even. Go find all of you people.
Well, I'm going to. Okay. Most of them are not here yet, but I will leave them to Davian.
This gives me the chance to actually fix the Delphine letter completely.
And he shrugs and says, as long as you get them to everybody, I have way too much to take care of, and we're not going to be here for very long. So I'm counting on you, princess.
Yes, sir. And
he rolls his eyes. Though I guess I should stop calling you princess, start calling you prophet or something now, right?
you can call me what you want to call me. I don't care anything.
That almost makes it not fun.
That's the point.
She does care. She's just trying to think she's alone. Said in an anonymous voice.
And he kind of snaps his fingers and his finger like angrily and says, "Damn, they're becoming self-aware now." And he just walks away, like puts his hands behind his head and walks back into the
It's
city.
always
to take
what
care of
happens
everything.
in the end.
We can keep going back and forth on this until I get the last word.
We can keep doing that.
And I imagine some other people who know him tell him to shut up, and he tells them to shut up, and then that's the end of it.
No, you shut up.
Because, surprise, surprise, Vet knows a lot of people here.
Shock.
And,
Oh my god.
and, as another note, as something completely unimportant, as you and, I imagine did you go shopping with your mom for that hat, by the way?
Yeah.
Okay, I figured it'd be some good mother-daughter bonding time, right?
She helped me pick out this outfit. And I'm notably not wearing teal right now. I have a teal thing to put on later, but, like...
During the, as you guys are going about, you ran into this strange, brusque, disheveled-looking man who was smoking a cigarette. And he just stopped. He looked at you. And he looked over at Rosalind and just started laughing. And Rosalind goes pale. And the man just walks by. And you hear a jingling in his pocket.
Oh god, this guy.
And and he just laughs and leaves. Because he doesn't fucking care. He's rich. This isn't worth it. But yeah, no, he absolutely, you totally ran into that guy. And she was like, I think he was one of the men who was looking for me. But he's not wearing any of the clothes that he was wearing before.
So clothes indicate side now.
Well, he wasn't wearing the insignia that the rest of them, and that he had last time. I guess we should just keep an eye on him for the time being.
Alistair nods.
And literally, you're not going to have any problem with him whatsoever. It's actually been about 2 months, yeah. Like, he would have had plenty of time to get here.
Huh.
But yeah, that was just a funny thing that I felt like doing. And yeah, so you guys would all get the letters, so you now have the letter information. And
Does the
however, what's up?
Does my letter still have the chessboard in it?
Oh no.
That's so okay. Good. 'Cause, like that was so extra.
I mean, that
Probably
would
had
be
to
fitting.
use extra money.
Well, yeah,
I had money then.
yeah, like it's fine.
Pouring out for
This
Kanu's
is just a
money.
drawing of him with his middle finger.
Yeah, there's a very artistically drawn middle finger actually attached.
Aw,
Yeah, there
aw.
you go.
He put effort
Yeah.
into it.
He
And,
almost cares.
However, there is one more letter beyond just the ones. Oh, speaking of which, fuck, I forgot to write the. Cecil, you got a response from Leonar.
Man, I've been waiting for that.
Yeah. I need to write that.
Boy keeps saying I need to write that.
I know. I need to write that. I'm sorry, but I
He has
actually
write a
need
lot
to
of
write
things,
that.
honestly.
You owe me, and I know how you can repay me.
I'm gonna fucking throw you out a window. That's how. But there is one other. Oh my god. There is one other letter, and it's addressed to Hoden.
Oh. I'm guessing he receives it, or
Yeah.
Yeah.
okay. Yeah.
Eventually, I give it to Davian, and Davian gives it to you.
Yeah.
my
when
God,
when
yeah.
you get it,
Yeah.
when you get it, it's a short letter from Laird.
Hoden's hands kind of are trembling a little bit, and he kind of looks for like a corner, like out of the way place to read it because it's going to take him some time, and he's still a little embarrassed about that, like not being able to read read well. So yeah, he first chance he gets, he'll tear it open and try to start reading it.
And as you do read it, it's brief and it decidedly does not use. It avoids complicated diction,
That was thoughtful.
and it says, "Hoden, the fact that you have been able to master so many letters in a short time is very admirable. Impressive, sorry. Because he's, again, trying to use as less complicated words as he can.
Mm.
Thank you for writing. Though you believe that I helped you, you helped yourself far more than I ever could have. Wherever you are and whatever you're doing, the flame will light your path. Follow your heart. For it burns bright. Your friend, Laird.
Hoden's gonna read over it a couple more times. Because I'm assuming like the first time he was really like almost translating, and then once the message was clear, he read through it again. And then he's totally not wiping a tear from his eye. And
That's ridiculous, yeah.
he folds it up and tucks it in like at this point to a breast pocket or something, and I can do this a little bit later, but he's gonna try to find, like, I'm guessing Okeanos kind of is a melting pot of religions and things.
Yeah, mostly.
He's gonna make a small donation to hopefully a flame altar and just kind of like, like you would do at a light a candle or light an incense thing and just on its off.
I imagine that probably while they were here, they probably when you probably met up with the candles, they actually probably did at least bring it to a handful of people, and so you probably would very much be able to do that because it's very, but they probably got this stuff. At least a small, like a little tiny mini altar, if nothing else. Tiniest lighthouse.
And he's gonna, like, as Hodin lights it, he just kind of almost to himself, very faintly, just says, "Laird, thanks for giving a damn." And he starts heading back to the ship, and actually probably except because he like thinks he's in trouble for something. Like, oh shit.
Gonna get a shovel still, don't yell at me.
Yeah, at this point he kind of fears cease in terms of like probably writing him a lot about like proper edit and things, and like nobody's really giving him shit about like it's like this is the most you gotta do this better.
That's the opposite of what I want people to.
You're defective.
And yeah. Probably a couple days into the Dragon Queen getting there, but not quite the Atlas getting there yet. There was who all would be hanging out in the city versus who all be hanging out near the vessel itself.
I'd probably
explore the city.
I'd probably be hanging out to the vessel just because it's not safe for me to venture too much.
Yeah, that's fair.
I'm a wanted criminal.
Wow.
Wow!
I'm going back to the world. And by that I mean like a ship or two.
You guys have probably went on a series of dates. And I'm just saying, they have hotels here, and they are not coffin size.
No one's gonna walk in on you.
You guys can rock the boat as much as you want.
Davian, I saw the fact that you didn't come back home, or not home, back to the boat last night with Piper.
Well, have you seen the beds? Not exactly comfortable.
With Piper.
Okay, yeah, and? What are you getting at?
Nothing.
The ass sailor
Really?
does have her available.
It's true. I mean, it's a huge, like there's plenty of shit. So who all is at the ship? Alstro would probably be at the ship pretty frequently.
Hodin, because he probably is on guard.
You're not quite there yet, because you guys were in
shit.
because the
Sorry,
Atlas
my
is not. No, it's okay. You guys are gonna get there pretty quickly and be able to do what you guys need to do.
PC wise?
Yes.
Hmm.
Honestly, whoever wants to be there, who's here now, can be
Right
there.
place at the right time. Why not? Let's just do that.
Yeah, you know. So as you guys are just kind of hanging out, can I have you guys all make a perception check for me? It's against 3 difficulty.
I hate these.
Eric.
I've been very perceptive. Ah,
Haha!
Oh shit.
Can oh wait, okay.
this
I was about to
better
ask
not be
for a
raccoons.
story
I
point,
don't
but
need
we're-
to deal with
It's not raccoons, I promise.
All right.
What the fuck would raccoons be doing out there?
How the fuck did I know?
God damn it.
Do we find a corpse?
You know, you don't find a corpse, and you don't find a crow togwell that was spying on you that gets eaten in the below decks either.
God damn it! Why do you have to bring that up?
But Alstro, you it didn't really register as anything of note the first 2 times, but by the third and the fourth and the 5th time that you saw this individual come back to this pier, and each time from a different entrance, and sometimes not from an entrance, sometimes it's in a boat, or it's on top of those nearby buildings. Like there's there's that flying tavern that I had mentioned and stuff like that, and you see this individual kind of floating in and out of these places. And she seems to be not so subtly looking at the crew members who are around and looking at the flag. And you see her kind of squint a lot and think, and she goes to talk to some people, and then she leaves, and then she comes back.
Davian, could you keep an eye on me?
Okay.
And she's going to investigate this person.
All right.
You're not wrong.
And as you like go, as you see this person again, kind of like peeking out from like one of the nearby buildings, she talks to some people, and you see her definitive in direct. She seems to be having some trouble, and the person she's talking to just gets frustrated and walks away. The human. She's also decidedly not a human. And as you get closer to her, it's a lot easier to take out her features. Obviously, the first thing you notice are the hawkings on her back. And as you approach her, she doesn't seem to be walking directly towards you, or like really approaching her at all. She has a wild red hair that's kind of like reddish orange, that's kind of tied back in like some loose braids to keep it out of her face with the sea wind. She's wearing kind of like this if you replace the top half of it with hang on, 'cause I saved it on the computer. If you took the top half of this and replaced it with with more of a loose tube top, that's just kind of wrapped around her upper section, leaving her midsection largely exposed, including her shoulders as well. Her exposed flesh that you see through the clothing and beyond her her wings shows a number of rather ornate and very well made tattoos of various designs that peek out from over her shoulders, on her thighs, and up across her back, similar in design to stuff like this. That you kind of see weaving in and out of her clothing as she kind of goes. And she doesn't look at you directly as you're approaching her. She kind of is just kind of walking and doesn't necessarily notice your approach.
Excuse me.
And she kind of jumps for a second. Her wings kind of flare out a bit, and she kind of tenses up for a moment. can I help you?
You've been hanging around the ship quite a bit. Are you lost?
She she kind of chews on her bottom lip for a second. I am not sure.
Elster looks at her quizzically.
She lost. That means not here.
She thinks.
Or
Are you trying to find a place?
yes. No. Maybe?
What are you looking for?
A friend. And she kind of like snaps her fingers, like remembering the word. I heard dragon. And she points up at the flag on Varo's ship, which in fact has a dragon skull on it. Are you flock leader?
She shakes her head. So you're looking for Varo then?
She nods. Yes.
Okay. He's like, follow me.
And she nods. She realizes that you mean that you want her to go out here, and so she goes. And so she keeps up quickly. She's a deal taller than you. And she kind of is like looking around, used and like she definitely looks very much out of place.
Protect this poor woman. She's so lost.
And she does like, and would be herself, but she's also horribly lost.
But she's also frozen.
And also a little bit frazzled, yeah. And she's not spoken common like much ever. And so she follows you, and you find Varo probably at a nearby tavern, and she kind of like ducks in it, and I imagine. Hang on, I want to see if something happens. Oh, absolutely. As you guys walk in, one of the more drunk patrons kind of like sidles up behind you and starts like chatting her up, and she subconsciously stomps on his foot and then knees him in the chest as he bends down to be like, ow, my foot. Basically, knee just collides with sternum, and he just kind of goes sailing back into the table that he's at with all the other people. And like her leg kind of raises for a second, like she's ready to continue fighting, and then everybody kind of looks at her for a second, and she just like puts her leg back down, and everybody just continues doing their thing, and she just coughs. Sorry. And then she just scurries on behind you.
Oh, she's adorable.
And so you get to Varro, and Varro Varro like sees that and kind of laughs, and he says, "Hey there, Alstromeria. What'd you find there?"
Please don't say my voice out loud here.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, he'd say some other name. I'm stupid. Sorry, that's my fault. He'd say whatever. Abby. Abby, or probably Allie. Yeah, Allie is probably more. That's more realistic. Allie, looks like you found a new friend.
Oh, she's looking for you, actually.
Hi, is that right? Oh, come on, lass. Have a seat. And he and like the people he's sitting with, some old friends, scoot in and give him some space. And one of them is a absolutely ancient looking macaw Togwell. He is wrinkled, and his feathers and shit are all sorts of like kind of lighter colors than they should be, and he's got like he has like really thick spectacles, and like he's in, but he has like a stereotypical tricorn hat, but you're pretty sure the feather in it is absolutely one of his feathers. And Varro introduces you guys to them, and he says, "Oh, and this is me friend Polly." He's like, "It's not my name, Captain. You know that." He's like, "Oh, yeah, but you can't remember your own damn name. You're too old. You're too bloody old." And everybody has a good laugh except for him. Yeah, they live to be 300 to 400 years old. Yeah, they live. This dude is probably like 300 years old. He's an old motherfucker. This ancient cantankerous pirate. He has a peg leg. He's got scars. He's got a limp. He's got it all. Like literally everything. And he definitely, one of his eyes is a glass eye that's like not actually fitted right. Like it kind of is a little bit lazy, but he's got it. He's still going. And so they pass you some drinks. All right, lass. Who's your? Do you mind introducing us to your friend then?
Wait, is that directed at her or me?
It's at you, as he looks to this hawk log.
I don't know who she is, but she has been looking around the Dragon Queen for some time.
And she puts her hand like on her chest, and she says, "Name? Viol." Hey, a pleasure to meet you, lass. And just what be bringing you to Captain Varro's stomping grounds, eh? And she kind of blinks for a second, and she did not catch most of those words.
I translate.
And Polly like he kind of leans forward. And he says something in a language that you don't recognize, which roughly translates to "fresh off of Delos, aren't you?" And he spits off to the side. And she like blinks for a second, and she nods like, and she starts talking really fast in hawkish to him, and he raises his hand. "Slow down, lass.